Ready? 3, 2, 1, start. Accepting a legitimate professional engagement by a professional can never be considered unprofessional and it cannot be made misconduct. It was further noted that once a person acquires the requisite qualifications to be a CA, he would be free to engage himself in the profession restricted only by conduct and there is no room for dishonesty. Therefore, it was observed that the Act could bring in restrictions or provisions only for the purpose of attaining the aforesaid professional standards. The main thrust of the paper was that when there was ceiling on audit, there was less competition. When less competition was there, the audit reports were qualified. When there was no ceiling, a member was free to accept any number of tax audits, and as a result of this, there was more competition, which was finally resulting in unqualified audit reports. Council discussed whether it should revise the ceiling limit on number of tax audits. Bread may be prepared from different cereals such as rice, wheat, maize, millets, and other items may also be used for making bread. Bread has not been defined in the Act. There is a dispute about its meaning and connotation. The case of the taxing authorities is that both the products in question cannot be described either as bread or cereals. In the absence of definition, dictionary meaning of bread may be taken into consideration. It is described as a well known article of food prepared by baking meal or flour with the addition of yeast. What is known as double roti in India is prepared according to the process referred in the dictionary. Bread, therefore, would undoubtedly include double roti. The meaning that the bread has come to acquire in course of time would include even bread prepared without the addition of the yeast. Generally, yeast is used in preparing bread, but the dictionary sense of the bread does not limit its use. The council was divided on the issue whether the council should increase the ceiling limit of tax audits, but the increased permeation of access to technology, increased professional competence, and other factors related to the economy also prevailed. The Council finally authorized its President to decide upon an appropriate increase in the ceiling on number of tax audits after taking into consideration the views expressed by various authorities. In pursuance thereof, the respondent increased the limit on number of tax audits from 30 to 45 per CA per year. Mr. N.K. Poddar stated that both these notifications do not survive. In case the appellant receives any representation against such existing guidelines, the highest body of the appellant will consider it and will take a decision as to whether such guidelines would continue or require any kind of modification. The appeals have become infructuous. However, in case any member is aggrieved of the existing guidelines and files a representation before the appellant shall consider it and pass appropriate order, and if any member is aggrieved thereof, he or she would have right to challenge it before the appropriate forum. As an expert statutory body, it would lay down restrictions on the number of tax audits and be capable of enforcing it. Therefore, the introduction of a suitable control mechanism was in the interest of the revenue for ensuring quality of tax audit. Institute had no mechanism to record exact data on number of tax audits undertaken. The question involved was of public importance and it necessitated a comprehensive settlement of the question of law. During the course of arguments, analogies were often drawn to the legal profession to argue that it is gross violation of principle of natural justice that a cap could be put on the number of cases that an advocate can take up. And secondly, there is no norm, custom, or practice of the profession that would require the body to ensure equitable distribution of the work to younger CA. Relatedly, it was contended that the equitable distribution of the work cannot automatically turn to the betterment of the standards of the accountancy profession in the country. Notification issued by the state government is prohibiting the slaughter of bulls and bullocks in premises maintained by a local authority. It is established that it seeks to impose the reasonable restrictions in the interest of the general public, and a less drastic restriction will not ensure the interest of the general public. It was reasoned that the judicial determination of the validity of the law imposing a prohibition on the carrying on of a business or profession should be informed by the larger public interest sought to be ensured in the light of the object. Stop. ये 124 पे